We started with the beginning. Okay, here. Okay, the real importance of this talk actually is the fact that we see around us, and perhaps not mass in the lace industry, or certainly in the fabric industry, more an enormous change in women's attitude. We see that on a social level at the moment. It's very strong, with a demand for inclusivity, from a women's point of view in regard to body sizing, but also in regard to cultural and ethnic importance. This has an enormous influence also because of streetwear. We see that streetwear is for a big part the leading motor. You have seen that Givenchy is also changing its designer now, and the designer Matthew Williamson is far more into luxury streetwear. This whole streetwear, this idea of sort of liberalization of the wardrobe is important. We have seen the importance of especially of activewear, which is really invading the intimates market. But on the other hand, and that is very interesting, it also opens a whole new design thinking and design school, and that is actually most important. With this horrible coronavirus. And we have also discovered that people want to be heard, and more than ever they have had time to rethink. And we can say that comfort at the moment, comfort and awareness of the body. There's a lot of people who did yoga and gym, but there's a general demand for comfort. But in my opinion, that doesn't immediately know all kinds of very basic merchandise, but certainly fit and texture and modernity is something that is on everybody's is in everybody's demand. There we go again. Here are our guests from. We start actually with a guest that is not here. If she comes in, I will introduce her. But we expecting Margot from the right-hand side. Margot Vidgen is like the most of the people here, despite quite young. Some of them are all real lingerie specialists. They have worked long in the business. That goes for Margot. I know Margot from Princess Tam Tam. I know her already for years. She has worked in China and now works in MAS and is responsible for the collection in all the different divisions of Noyon Lanka. Then we have Marina Marie. She is VP Product Development and Sales, but it didn't fit Marina. Sorry for that. But Marina is also one of those real lace professionals. She started in a company with a lot of our guests, probably Guilford Liberty Hoffman, very famous. A lot of people talk about that company with a lot of nostalgia. She worked with one of the most famous lace designers in the world, Flora Chow. She is now responsible for the product and the development at Encajes, but also for sales. And that is not so unique, because a lot of people, including Federica Tersch from Iluna, one of the Iluna lab leaders in lace and also in embroidery, being directly close to the clients and in design is quite an important combination. Federica Tersch and Walter Colombo together are very leading in the world of sustainability, because they have invested an enormous amount of already for years of all kinds of different researches, and are having a lot of important certifications. They are now produced also the first biodegradable lace, a very important part of this new world of lace. Then I invited two young designers. Minka Roseman is the founder and the designer of MilaKrasna. It's a very, very, very interesting collection. It is born, it is lingerie, but it is born from a different lifestyle perspective, and we see that all around us. It's not only sport. Minka is herself, I think, as well. She's a pole dancer. She makes the most gorgeous bodywear pieces that are made and produced, designed and produced in Slovenia, so close in Europe, and we see this whole return to Europe is a very important part. Rosa Kramer is something very difficult to explain. She will do that later, but she is one of those young women who embrace technology also from a design point of view. She works, I think, with a software which is called Clo, a Clo 2 or a Clo 200. You have to tell it yourself. Probably also related to Alvanon, all kind of technologies that make prototyping, and especially prototyping in different complicated size ranges much easier and also visual. So that is my panel at the moment. Very interesting people who are very each of them very representative of a new mood in the language.
Jos, you're in mute. And Margot is there. So maybe Margot, you can activate your camera, please.
Sure, if you like. Just a minute.
Okay. Yeah. So when did it become mute?
And Margot is there. So okay. Margot can...
I already introduced you, Margot. Put your camera on so that I see you. Okay. All our panelists have got their time to explain their part of an interesting computer I have. Why is it always going like that? Okay. We start actually with Walter. Walter is, apart from a lace technologist, also a very, very talented photographer. Here, this beautiful black and white picture is made by Walter. And it's on top of that, we placed lace from Iluna also prototyped in a garment, which is typical what we see happening, a sort of mix of traditional shapes, but very much influenced by sport, wearable as in different occasions, but with very modern features such as bonding, laminating. Here the cups are laminated on in the real prototype on a different color. The prototypes were made by Clover in Hong Kong, and this is typical, a step into that design and technology that focuses on different lifestyle and different wearer moments. What we see in general is that lingerie is enormously changing, also from a perspective, and we see that lace is for a long time not only for dressy garments, but also for very sporty garments, and we see that the first the first laces arrive as also in collections such as Lululemon. The short here, very interesting. We call it a cycling short, but other people, traditional people, would call it a long leg panty. We see that that short is especially in America. When you go in summer, when it's very hot in America, you see especially that ladies who have who are perhaps a little bit bigger, they wear that under their short trousers, sometimes visible. It is typical, has become beautifying, but also a practical garment. This idea of, that is my first observation here, is streetwear, how important streetwear and sport, and now the word is to Federica. This is a trend board from Iluna for autumn winter or for summer 22, Federica?
Autumn winter 21-22. Autumn winter.
For you to explain what you want to say here.
When we started thinking about this story, we think about a woman, a new woman. It's a little bit feminist, feminine, exposed and strong, about smart. And this is a conscious woman capable to mixing a comfort of the activewear with the upcycling of everything you have always loved. And we try to think about this, try to mix two different culture from intimate and streetwear, and try to mix together to try to give something new. This is the idea, mix the floral motif with the bright pattern, with the net, with mesh, with the piece of wave or geometric motif. And we like to use a strong and vibrant color, because this new woman is able to dare this type of color the same in the winter season. This is the idea.
We go to the next slide. I hope. Yes, no. We don't do that. I don't know what happened with my stupid computer. Voila.
Okay. This is another part of our mood board for the autumn season. And I love this part. We decided to call natural. Nature is a search of life and energy. And in these difficult times, let's we conquer the embrace what they partly forgotten. We like to observe the movement of the leaves, the trunks is a perpetual movement. And we love the organic motif on the ultralight background, and we try to slow down the rhythms in favor of the motion, and transforming our creativity, sustainability, and quality in the pillar for our collection. Special in this story, we use a special type of yarn, and the special, what you see now, the natural dyes.
Brings Iluna already, and now we get Walter again with one of his own pictures. Wow, wow, wow. Walter, it's your turn to explain us a little bit how this green awareness developed, because you started very early in the history with an enormous study and an enormous focus on sustainability.
Yes, Jos, just a small introduction to this concept that we have had for about 10 years. Everything started with the need to renew the image of our collection with strong technology and the stylistic innovation. And from this need, years ago, Iluna Lab was created. It is a container of innovation that our black label lines are parts of. And the first one to be realized up to the green label, which is now the most important line, and the one that better expresses the simple concept we mentioned before, and that can be summed in two very simple words: sustainable innovation. That it is what we believe, and that it is what we would like to transmit to our customers and to the people who follow us.
I also, sorry to interrupt you, just a little remark from my side. When I talk with a lot of people, they have doubts about the transparency of the system, and I understood that you have worked a lot to make that transparency of origin very clear. And
I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened in other countries, but in Italy and in Europe, being transparent, it is not a matter to debate. It is a matter to be certified and to show the evidence every time people need to better know what it is GRS, what it is recycled, what it is bio. Everything has to be registered as a raw material inputs, for example. And so we have to register everything, not only us, but also our supplier needs to register all the inputs and all the outputs from the beginning to the end of the cycle. And so everything it is possible to be traced back from the lace till the raw materials and all the different passages through the chain. And so
you talk also about a full respect and for the environmental. Does that mean that your sustainable message is also related to your personnel, to the way they work in your factory? How do I need to understand that?
Yeah, because being GRS certified doesn't mean only to be certified about raw materials, but means especially being completely certified for the respect of the social and environmental requirements, for the use of less dangerous chemical, for the whole process. It is not only a matter of raw materials, it is a matter to respect a standard of social and environment rules. This is GRS. And this is a natural vocation for us, because if we come back to 2 slides before, where the beautiful atmosphere of the Ticino River and the boat, that shot was taken at 1 kilometer from here, in order to let you understand which is beautiful the place where we located.
Thank you, thank you. We are hearing enormous amount of problems for a lot of fashion companies, especially the story that people don't want to pay the price. But from the consumer side, we actually hear stories about we are not well informed. So information, according to our research, will be in the next coming years the most important. It is not so much the consumer who is resistant to that. In this change of environment, in this enormous cultural exchange of different aspects, we also see, and there my next guest, Marina, is very, very important with her collection, because a lot of those cultural references you find back in Encajes laces. Here, for instance, very timely, inspired by the Notre Dame, by all those beautiful Gothic cathedral, and an important design element as well, not to just look to all the things that are iconic and classic, like flowers in lace, and we see that there has been an enormous success. We only have to talk about the collection of Livy here in France to know that this graphical reference is important. Marina, this is your area. You see that I had to reshuffle your slides a little bit to make them fitting in my program, but everything is there. Please explain one of your trends. For which season is this? For autumn winter 21-22? Marina, you have to unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes, so graphic continuity is for autumn winter 2021-22. This was really an exploration in the cultural references with these wonderful Jeremy Anderson sculptures, as well as how technology affects our design. In essence, you have in advertising, you have graphics and charts that are used to explain numbers and metrics, but a good graphic, the right, has an amazing impact. And you can see we used wonderful, very sheer laces with these diamond and ladder stitches and very textural design here. And animals, I love finding a new, very impactful animal that really resonates and is inspiring. And you can see the scale. And then you have your streetwear influence, the Dolce & Gabbana with the combat boots and the long line strapless bra with a high-waisted pant and lace, and this very lovely textural sculpture sweater. It really has a very visual and tactile look. So.
In general, Marina, this handmade element has been enormously important. I can't say how many Instagram and also from my own friends things I got of people suddenly taking needles, knitting, being busy, also to remake their garments during the confinement. But it is also an enormous restart again of admiring crafts.
Well, a handmade tale was with the crisis and the pandemic, we've all gone back to baking and using pure ingredients to create our own bread or pizza or whatever it might be. I think it's really important that we are going back to our roots in a way and creating things that are special and unique. And that's what this board is conveying here, because it's also very visual, very textural. We're focusing on our sustainable laces and also our more textured yarns, our skin soft products. It's really an exploration in what consumers want. They don't want mass produced. They want something unique and regular, and something that is pure and authentic. So it's really one of these, we continue to expand our sustainable laces. We have your macrame looks and very unprocessed, colors are very natural and faded. This Isabel Marant garment on the bottom left was an inspiration, very authentic craft look. So this was the authenticity. I mean, consumers know they want something special and very real and genuine.
I love this. I love this look. Does it also mean that we see more blends with the natural yarns? I know how difficult that is on a lace machine to use blends with cotton or or with cellulosic. But
yes, we are exploring that for our future collections. However, we're focused now on more the texture of the yarn and then the microfibers, as well as recycled yarns. That continues to grow. And in terms of recycled yarns and our recycled collection, where there are other ways to, of course, the lace is our main focus, and we've expanded on our green collection. However, we've done other things in terms of waste-saving initiatives and water management, and also energy efficiency. And I mean, it can just be down to having all of our headers are on recycled paper products, packaging, samples, how we ship samples. We try to reduce the waste and really be very socially conscious. And quite honestly, I feel that in terms of markets, it has to be a corporate edict. I've spoken to many young designers who work for bigger corporate retailers who they love to buy recycled products. However, they're not quite there yet. They might not want to pay the additional cost. However, it's important. I mean, it's important to be socially conscious, and as well to have it be mandated from as a corporate edict, as opposed to maybe we'll do that. It's not just a marketing. It's not just a marketing plan.
That will be the most difficult hurdle to take. I think there is in some companies is still, and I hope they are now starting to doubt about that, because yesterday I was busy with one of my friends who has worked and helped companies, actually the whole gotha of American retail, from the limited to Avenue and JCPenney, and we said, now is it not interesting, because at this moment those companies have indeed quite a hard time, and we all know that we are not against buying there, but we are certainly against products which are without any interest and only there because of the price, and that is something we all believe, that the consumer is willing to change, but it takes us a lot of energy and explanation and what you say, unifying our forces. There is also an interesting trend here. You will see that to share that with a lot of lace makers, the awareness that we all have spent lots of time at home.
Yes, so soft focus, and in my reflection at home, I've really, sitting at home, working, taking care of children and running around, there's the idea of wanting to, wellness as well as being comfortable and having the ability to fit in a workout in between everything. So here is really the focus on, we're hyper focused on the softness of our laces. Our skin soft laces are wonderful. They're against the skin. They're super soft. They really add a value. And many of our consumers, our customers have noticed, and they're including them in their basic collections, and they're top sellers. And it's just going to increase because everybody wants a soft lace. Let's face it. I mean, it's next to our skin. It has to be soft, and it makes you feel good. And it really, the movement and the flexibility that you have, it's also the combination with being active. So it's that that synergy that if you will, to find the right mix.
Thank you.
And here you can see the different. So it's our Skin Soft product, and it's also our micro back laces, the soft brush back laces that we have in the collection, and it's really the finding new uses and applications for qualities that have been ongoing in our collection for some time. If that would be a power mesh, making it with antimicrobial, so it has an added function and value. To be used for activewear, or a micro-backed product, or a sheer ground product that can be used for shapewear, or lightly shaping, or a sports bra, if you will.
So you were almost automatically getting us to the next intervention of Margot Vidgen from Noyon, Lanka, because what we see that this what we already have we have a testimony from two important lace makers, Iluna and Encajes, where you must have heard an enormous diversity already. Not a diversity that is based on price or necessarily on the type. It is all talking about pleasing consumers, but it is also talking about different looks, and that is very, very important, because we believe that in the lingerie industry there is too much sameness. And I was very happy to hear yesterday somebody, Dora Larsen actually, the owner of Dora Larsen, saying in a webinar that her collection, I presume that you all know the look of Dora Larsen, very colorful, quite classic in shape, but very much based on non-matching colors often. She wanted a collection that is really unique, and that uniqueness, you see that as well in collections such as Livy. It doesn't look like anybody else, and I think that is something we also have to admit, that the new market of lingerie will be a fantastically diversified market with a lot of choice, and that must please every woman. We talk also about inclusivity and body positive in regards to what you can do and what your taste level is, and the taste level is quite varied, and certainly with the influence of sport. I was very, very impressed here as well to see in a French collection from Thierry Mugler that they dare to send two mannequins on the catwalk, which are really expressing this inclusivity, both from a color but also from a shape point of view. A very interesting development here is then talking about the body, talking about the differences in the body, and certainly in regards to engineering, and that brings us then to this body from Noyon, which was a sensation on the last fair in Paris, which we all think back now with so much emotion, because it seems so long ago that we would be all together, but it will come back. The idea of body mapping, but done on the research on a Jacquartronic machine. Margot, it's your turn now. Here, explain us how important this body mapping is, both for lingerie, for beachwear, and for sport, of course.
Yes, of course. Hello, Jos. Thanks for.
Hi. I can't see you. Where are you?
I'm terribly sorry, but I can't get my camera working for some reason. And normally,
Cecile, what can you do to help her to make her camera working?
because normally I have no problem with Zoom, and
They're seeing because the camera is activated for me on my dashboard, and so I don't know why it doesn't work, because all is activated for me. Your microphone and your camera is activated. So
but I can't see you, but can others see her? No.
No.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Okay, so we have to believe. We have seen her.
It's very annoying because I have a little exclamation mark that says.
What does it say?
It's like if I cross it out, then I've got a red line through it, and it says enable camera access for Zoom under security and privacy and system preferences.
What might help, Margot, is to push the little lock you see in the bar, the website bar, and there you can probably show your preferences for allowing something as a camera.
Is that our very technical Rosa talking?
Sorry.
No, but Rosa, I can't see you anymore either.
Oh, I'm here.
Because I've ticked on Zoom camera, so but it's just not coming up. Hang on.
So you just we need your voice, and then you perhaps one of our guests know the problem.
Yes. What also helped me was going in and out again, because I had some trouble with the microphone I saw. I had also an exclamation point, so maybe going in and out of the whole Zoom meeting can help.
Right. Okay.
You just do it by refreshing the page on the right.
So then. Okay, so what we have seen in the last couple of fairs is an enormous enthusiasm for knitwear technology, and especially there were all kinds of lectures also by Karen Meyer, which is the biggest machine builder in the world for laces, where the story about and we still have a lot of hurdles to take, by the way, but the story is especially about saving. Yes, no, thank you. Hello? Oh no, I thought it's not you, huh, Cecile? Especially saving all kind of waste products, and that is very, very important. Also in the way that engineering is developing, and we see that engineering is still a fantastic art. It is some people are extraordinarily far in it, lace people, but also jacquard manufacturers, and we are especially interested to see that going forward, also in regards to engineered shaping. Margot, are you there? Margot is completely. I think we are moving forward now.
Can you hear me here?
Yes, I can hear you. Please talk.
Okay. So I'm terribly sorry, I can't get the camera working.
Oh,
but basically, what we're doing here with Noyon Lanka is trying to work combining all elements of an engineered product and a certain amount of sexiness within these products that are quite transversal, that go from the office and into draining down into sportswear. These are engineered laces that are a marriage between somehow between knits that you'll find in classical knit companies and lace. And we've tried to use a lot of reinforcement in different areas. So it's extremely technical product, trying to get various levels of shading and create new interest in these kinds of products. There's a lot of talk about comfort, obviously, but also support and free movement. So trying to combine all those areas in this group of products is proved very exciting and challenging.
Margot, in your job description, you also talk about protective garments. Are they a protective underwear, or is this a whole category that has nothing to do with lingerie?
No, the protective area that we're working on is basically, you know, obviously new markets opening up, a worldwide society, unfortunately, that is somewhat needing reassurance and with an extremely big market, obviously, for all those protective products. So when I talk about protective products, I'm talking about we're actually doing engineered face masks.
Oh, well, hold on. I bring you there.
Yeah, okay. So working with lots of different yarns and different treatments on these actual laces. The interesting thing is trying to bring some fantasy to something that's quite, let's say, not an extremely positive element in our society today. So to bring a little bit of brightness in there, a little bit of fashion, a little bit of sustainable, which is extremely important for Noyon Lanka as well. Trying to combine innovative yarn options and place motifs. So most of these projects, we're working in partnership with companies as we advance on this, because these particular engineering machines, etc., you know, quite long in their process and quite fastidious in the creation of each item. It's extremely technical, but we're coming up with some very, very interesting results with what I'd call high-tech solutions, and you know, incorporating reflector yarns and some yarns that change with the light, all the antibacterial and antimicrobial treatments that we can have on these items according to the needs of different labels. We are looking into other kinds of products, but the market as yet is very new to all of us. And oh, so we've moved on to the milky soft.
No, we don't. Are you? That's I can bring it back. Because I had a question, but I can come back to that again. Yeah. Hold on. Here you are.
No worries. What's your question, Jos? Your question is regarding the protective.
My question is regarding the fresh breathing of the mask. What are you doing in that product? Is that an antibacterial treatment?
It's a special engineered fabric that where we need to have a certain amount of filtration, but also you know, the ability to breathe freely, obviously. So as you all no doubt know, there's a lot of stringent requirements on the European market for being able to market something that's technically viable for proper filtration. So you've got all kinds of masks out there at the moment. I don't know what's happening in the States, in the United States, for example, but in Europe, the sale of all kinds of different filtration is available on the market and is acceptable. But to have certain certifications, it's really very, very tough. It's extremely challenging for us, and we're still not completely there in that respect. So it's something that's fairly new for us to work on. But this is all part of our engineered lace projects. I would like to, of course, stress the absolute importance for us also at Noyon in regards to sustainability. We are, you know, really, really focusing on that big time. It's something that we're going to try and have across the board in all our projects. Another key point for me is really in view of the post-COVID situation, and even when everybody was in lockdown, is everything to do with the cocooning and the stay-at-home wear and, you know, laces that are extremely comfortable. So there's some other big projects that we're really working on big time with certain laces that I would call brioche pillow lace, for example. We're working on projects like a plush new life with trying to combine sustainability in our Sustainably Yours collection with softness and stretch, you know, being able to move freely. They're very, very important points.
It is a very interesting development into lingerie, because for a big part that whole area of sort of underwear and thermal wear is still quite underdeveloped. I know you do also seam free. Is seam free coming back in a more interesting way?
Well, it's not exactly what I would call seam-free, not totally Santoni style, but as you can see here in this this picture up in the right-hand corner, the body hug. This kind of project is all that combination of, you know, like the crafted, the vintage look that we were talking about previously, combining it with ultra comfortable, you know, hydrogen textured style yarns. You'll see a couple of our laces down the bottom there with what I would call in certain aspects a return of ultra visual and the textronic laces that everybody has been shunning for quite some time. I think it's time to start using those machines and to bring in new and interesting ways of contrasting lightness and heavy pillow kind of detailing in these laces. So we've done a couple of projects like that that I think have come out very, very nicely. And I think it's, you know, because of the, I don't know how it is for everybody else, but the difficulties of having big stocks of yarns, etc., is sometimes a little bit confining for having everything you need at hand for these projects, but it's work in progress and it's extremely important. Yeah.
It fits in also with the look of the handmade from Encajes, and certainly we have seen already some very, very interesting textronic laces in the market. Now for something we are in comfort. We are constantly in comfort, actually, and this is one of those collections that where we can say that is the new sexy, or part of the new sexy is very much about moving and being busy with your body. Minka, where are you?
Hi.
Hi, here we go. Tell me a little bit where you're coming from. Are you yourself a pole dancer?
I was. Then I was much more focused on the brand, and I started dancing again actually in quarantine time. So I'm back to dancing, and we're based in Slovenia, in Ljubljana.
So her look is a combination of bondage, of enormous interesting shapes. But what inspires you, Minka?
Dance mostly. First of all, it's like it's combination. It's like it's art, it's sport. It's like a mixture of this woman's sensuality, softness, art, also like classic elements of lingerie and history of clothing, and then like with this basketball, for example, with different kinds of sports. And it's like, it's, oh yeah, this is actually the last model here. It's
totally handmade. There are few models that we're they are made to order, and a few on the right, few new sketches of the new collections. And it's actually like a concept of a body wear. It's a multifunction wear with underlying influence of dance aesthetics, which can be pole dance wear, yoga, swim, or just as a purpose of wearing of outwear, like combination with basic. Some pieces are like, for example, some bodysuits can be worn for like evening time, combining with classic shorts and stuff.
We talk more and more about hybrid wear, about new classifications, or classifications actually are very difficult to give to this. And there we come immediately to this enormous problem of the retailers who find it incredibly difficult to place or to merchandise all those different looks into one shop. Certainly, when you look here, where the dividing lines between beachwear and lingerie or activewear are also very difficult to draw.
Yeah, this on the left, this is actually on the left, the new collection, and on the right is the old, but we're just changing color now. This is one of our best sellers on the right side. It's actually inspired by pole dancing, the cutouts and the shapes that you need for a skin grip, that you're able to do the pole moves. But it's actually very popular for swim. Actually, more people are buying it for swim than the actual workout. Yeah, and this right is the basketball inspired, and also with classic elements of corsetry, like in a new way.
So this playing woman, of course, has all kinds of different sizing demands and fitting demands, and that brings us almost automatically to our young guest from Amsterdam. And here, Rosa, we are talking. I have not completely understood what actually are doing, but I understood. From one of your clients, Opaque, that what your work is terribly important. So tell me, what it has something to do with size as well, with the body and with inclusivity. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm actually doing, my name is Rosa. I'm from HYPERcurve, so it's my own studio that I started, and I heard a lot of people here talk about innovation and how we need to move on to new products. And what I really believe is that by having a new way of designing, a new way to make products, ultimately new products will come from that. So my kind of artistic discovery is 3D design. I have a humble background in design as a designer myself for lingerie and swim. And through that, I saw all the possibilities that were given with this kind of software, with this technology. And Jos, if you would mind going to one other slide before this one.
Oh, and from
maybe if you go to the other one. So the first one that I shared with you, with the number 1 in the name, the JPEG.
No, I didn't see another slide. Sorry, I must have missed that.
Okay, don't worry.
You have to explain it to me. It was last minute montage. I saw these. I can perhaps look and produce it.
Yeah, don't worry. So the first slide I can explain.
Give us a name to your software, because we are very interested in
so
that.
There are many different softwares to use, but my software that I really prefer is Clo3D. It's a very fashionable software. What you can do is design a garment fully in 3D. So it's been done for the automotive industry for quite a while now. But somehow we are very attached to all these sketches and the very traditional way of working. And I'm not saying we should stop that, because I think that's very, very important and very interesting. But you should actually see 3D as sketching on a body. It's like draping, but with a few clicks you can see so many different possibilities in shape and in color. So especially for something like lace, which can take a lot of time to recolor, to put all these needles back on the machine, and for embroidery as well, you can see all these different variations with a few clicks. So the mission of HYPERcurve is really to initiate and to support, and also to bring these kind of technologies further within the industry. So it's on the starting point, but what I think is very interesting is that if you design in a different way, so in a different software, you would maybe come up with things you wouldn't do when you would sketch it. So in a way, it saves really a lot of time. It can save a lot of money, and ultimately also a lot of materials, because I think, as many of the panelists will maybe know, there's a lot of material that goes into the visual development of collections, and a lot of them are in the end waste. They just go to waste. And I think with these technologies, you can really cut down so much on this cost, material wise. That's really the mission. That's actually the secret goal, to make the industry also a lot more sustainable. And in a way, you also design really in a completely different way. So that is what I'm focusing on now. And the kind of services that I have is the 3D prototyping itself, but also consulting. And another part of it is, as you said, it's very important to design for diversity. So to design for different body shapes means to scan a lot of women, which I'm going to do with the Technical University of Delft. And a lot of the body models, so these kind of models that you see here also in the visual, a lot of them were just made for garments as shirts or blouses or jackets, outerwear to begin with. And I think the shapes of lingerie are so diverse, you really have to pay attention to each fit that a garment can give to be able to make it really visually correct. So therefore, I'm creating my avatar studio. So in the end, I hope to be able to give the industry a solid starting point to really apply these kind of technologies, because it might seem a bit scary or new or different, but when you have a good base, and especially brands that work quite modular, there's so much to win. There's so much to gain in working in a different way.
I will invite you to show what you can do, and certainly the lace people will be incredibly interested in that. I hope there is a fair in the near future, so that we can see what it means, because this saving aspect of lingerie is of course incredibly important. I would like to ask Cécile, are there interesting questions from the audience? Cécile?
Yes, sorry. I'm here, sorry. How is the difference than the World for 3D collection, which seems to only go up to D cup? It's a question from Linda.
It's a question to me, I guess, or is it to?
Yeah, probably. Is it going to bigger sizes than another program which is only going to D cup?
Yeah. So what you can do with this technology is you can, if I would be a brand, I would try and get the shapes that I want to serve into this software. And you have to understand, for now, it's really visual. So it's really about proportion and about color. But there are already developments in soft tissue avatars. These avatars that you see here are solid, like you have in a window of a shop. You have these plastic torsos. That is what these are. But if you go to soft tissue avatar, pattern makers might be able to develop in this as well. But for now, I'm not offering anything like a collection. It's more a fact that a brand might now just try their new collection in a fitting room with the models that are demographically available right now. And if you are a brand in Europe, it might be just only Caucasians skinned people. So you can imagine with a few clicks you can see it on different skin types, different body types, if these are brought into the software. So that's why it's very different. We don't just think of a sample size and then grading. We think of designing for the diversity of all these sizes, see if it works on many different body types and skin types, and then start developing. So it's really a tool for the development for designers and product developers.
I would like to come back again to, and I would like to ask the Iluna lab team especially. We talk a lot now about sustainability on in all the different angles. Did you recently, Walter and Federica, where are you? I know already that you told me that there is an enormous upswing in the demand of sustainable laces. When did that happen? During the confinement or before?
But the market starts asking for sustainable laces since 3 to 4 seasons ago, strongly, especially our biggest ones. And so it's very difficult to let them understand which is the added value, which is the importance, but seems to me that they start asking and paying for that quality and that added value. This is what I think.
I must say I was I was in London when the shops of Intimissimi were completely it was called green lingerie. And it was explained in every detail in big boards, and to the I know that you were responsible for part of that collection. Was that a big bestseller because of that information to consumers? Because I find in general that there is not enough information to consumers about the newness of a collection, and that the younger designers who explain more, and we heard that as well from various webinars, that especially in the confinement time they started to sell directly to the consumer and explain their brand. And it seems to be incredibly important that it's not just a sort of practical way to buy, but also a very, from a consumer point of view, an interesting way to inform yourself and to understand. Is that also your observation that had happened?
You cannot imagine how is difficult to explain a concept to the consumer in a very smart and in a very smart way, because sustainable means a lot of things, and sometimes they are not well understood, not well explained, and not delivered to the final consumer in the best possible way. We are here to trying to explain everything to the new brands, to the big brands, but sometimes it's very, very hard.
Is that your opinion as well, Minka, that the consumer is far more interested in things than people think? You're selling a lot on the internet?
Can you explain again?
How are you selling to retailers or direct to the consumer, or both?
Mainly direct. Mainly, and a lot of more direct we did in this quarantine time.
And how is the consumer interested when you explain something quite thoroughly? Are they reacting on that?
Yeah, very much.
Because it is my personal feeling that a lot of people also on fairs, they were saying to lace people, and I hear it from you, Federica, and I heard it from other lace makers as well. I heard it also from Encajes, that the consumer doesn't want to pay the extra price. Is that true?
No, they do. They do want they do want more and more. We just made during the quarantine time, we just made like this huge questionnaire to all our customers, and we put all these questions. Would you pay more? Do you pay attention? Is it important to you? Where does it come from? Is it important that the package is sustainable? And everything was 70% yes, 75% yes. And they do pay more. Actually, even if we release limited collection, and if we emphasize that this is the recyclable material, or that it's like, and it's made to order, they're prepared to they're prepared to pay twice as more. They are, especially
yes.
All these, our target group is very like up to date, like dancers, active women, you know, they have this lifestyle, even more like, you know, this conscious behavior towards everything, especially in clothing.
Margot, do you miss that? Because you are working for a giant company as well. Do you miss that typical direct contact with the consumer, which you must have had in the time when you worked for Princess Tam Tam, for instance?
I must say yes, I do miss it, Jos. But then it's extremely interesting working on the other side, because I have such a wealth of information, you know, from my past years in product, finished product. And I must say that I've been pushing, since I've been with Noyon Lanka since nearly 2 years now, I've been pushing on sustainability since I arrived. And there has been a very, very definite shift on the market, which clearly started in Europe, but is now shifting to the States. And it was like an explosion for us anyway. I suppose different companies live that in a different way. But I remember having conversations with my CEO, and you know, he you know, the policy was not really sort of totally inclined in that direction. And then he came back from a trip in Europe, and, you know, everybody wanted it, you know, everybody wanted it. And, you know, according to each brand strategy, they're prepared to pay more. I think that it depends on the customer, because obviously a high-end customer is going to be a lot more open and aware on that. But I do think it's important not to forget the general public, and that there will be, I think that it's our duty also as lace makers or creative people to really put the accent on that and educate the consumer. And it starts with us.
There's another other point that goes as a red thread through our whole webinar program, and that is sizes. And Margot and Rosa, I come directly to you. You must have an enormous demand from people who suffer with sizes, because there is, in general, when we talked, we had a seminar together with Triumph, and that was very interesting. That came quickly to the enormous problem of stock control, the enormous amount of sizes, and the fact that from developing something from an A cup to an H cup, which is now quite normal nowadays, is for most people a real hellish kind of situation. How are you sitting there? Do you say, now I need to become a specialist for bigger sizes? Because that has an enormous effect on lace as well. It's the width of lace, it's the modulus of lace. There's a lot of things changing, since people want less and less wires and less padding.
Obviously, it's something that's very important to keep in mind and to take into account. I think it's necessary to develop specific collections for that kind of thing, and then work in partnership with various labels. That's the most important thing. But to be able to deliver solutions, or to think of new and innovative ways to combine big sizes and comfort. And I think that the way of looking at big sizes today I think there's different attitudes out there. You know, there's the old school where big sizes, you know, people want to feel really secure and well supported, and we're heading into a big size market where there's a lot more stretchability and soft return on product. So we have to be very attentive to the way we knit and the way we incorporate various amounts of elastin or lycra into our laces. And that's where some of our engineered laces come into play. But I think it's an important element to take into account in our general offer as well. Some labels in big sizes are going to be looking for a combination of rigid laces and stretch laces with the same design. Others are going to be far more interested in soft stretch, in molding. But I think it is an exciting subject for the future, Jos, for developing new and innovative ways to give an answer to those companies. Yeah.
Marina, you are very much in the American market, where big sizes are almost like the basic of the whole industry now. When we arrive from Europe in the United States, we are, especially on airports like Atlanta, you're pretty much amazed. Is there a special demand growing also for technical specificity for big sizes, or are people just taking the same? Marina?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear your question. The audio cut out for a second.
I said, you are very much in the big size market in America there, and I know you have a lot of American clients. What is there a special demand? Because I hear from almost all more bigger ladies that they still find that the offer for them is null. That's very limited. And
well, speaking from personal experience, I do think that it's still limited. I think there are many options out there for the smaller sizes, or I don't want to say standard, but the larger size consumer does have limited options. It's difficult to find a bralette that is supportive and or a soft cup bra that's supportive and that you're comfortable in. I think that there's definitely going to be a bigger push, and that we have to focus on that for future. And speaking of engineered laces, that is definitely something that we're exploring, and it has to be a partnership with the brand as well as their fit team. It's a synergy between design and fit, because you have such a wide variety of size range. There are technical laces that I think that can be explored in new ways, be it something that has a two-way stretch or four-way stretch, or the soft laces as well, and laces that are traditionally known for shapewear, let's say, because of their modulus properties. But I do think that there's a necessary exploration into the larger sizes with the body positivity and inclusivity movement that we need to explore more.
Federica?
Yeah.
You should be able, because you started to sell very, 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 very early. You should be able to see already a trend. What are people looking for at the moment? I know that you did this morning a sales collection reviewed with China. So are people looking for something special, or is it typical, what I hope it is, that they come for you to use inspiration?
We started the Zoom presentation for our customer, and especially in all Europe and especially in China, for example, and all customers ask for the sustainability. Because after this difficult moment, every single customer asks, okay, we try, we understand the value of the sustainability, the value of the natural dyes, and we like, we want to adopt this type of lace. And for us is our idea, our soul, our mood, because we follow this story from 10 years.
10 years, yes.
Yeah.
The last question.
Finally, the people understand what is the sustainability. It's for our future.
I think we have to, because I can talk with you the rest of the day, but we have to end this. I would like to ask each of you, what is your deepest after Corona, after COVID, after pandemic wish? But how would you like the world to change?
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Not the whole world, your own world, of course.
Okay.
World.
You know, for us is I like to change a little bit. I understand the best. I like to slow down the rhythms and try to understand I don't know, for every single our creation, our single lace for the best. Okay, like I don't know, like a child, they pay more attention. No better.
Yes, it's
So,
yeah.
Slowing down.
Another wish could be the feeling to feel good when you buy a garment, when you buy a lace. You feel good because you are thinking at how to stay well and how to be more responsible with the planet. This is my wish.
Yeah.
Minka, what is your wish?
Yeah, pretty much very similar, and I think that everything's going towards that way. It's like to feel good, to please with our products, kind of, to be more, and our customers are like more conscious, you know, about the product. They want more quality, less products, more sustainability. Our group much like that from the beginning.
And Marina?
I think an important lesson was to, you know, nobody expected this to happen. It hit us pretty hard, and you really can't fall in love with your plan. Sometimes things change and you really have to move with the changes, and allowing this sort of downtime or this pause moment has allowed us to connect in a different way and really be present. And I hope that we can continue to do that and really listen to our customers and interact with them to sell our products and be informative and to really send a message and connect that way. But it's really been a time for reflection that I hope we can learn from, to move on and to move forward and to make us better.
And Margot?
Well, I'm very much aligned with what you're all saying. My deep desire and feeling is that whatever we do, whether it be lace or product, it's like the circle of life. And that we've already created so much damage on this planet, all of us, that I think it's a question now of how do we take all that waste, and how do we take all those plastic bottles and, you know, ready to wear garments that are just this bulimic kind of situation that we have in the world and make that into something beautiful. And I would really, really like to be centered on you know, how do we reuse what we've got? I am not a strong believer in, you know, all this organic cotton and cotton revolution because of all the water it uses. So yeah, I'm really for let's make everything turn around, circle of life. Yeah.
And you, and you, Rosa?
I think for me, I hope that, I think I feel it right now already, that because of the corona and because of many other crises as well, technology can finally be seen as really a solution to many of the problems that we have in the industry, but also in the world. And we can maybe move from predicting what clients want towards maybe even a co-creation. If there would be this digital world where bodies are virtualized, and you can directly communicate with your group of suppliers, with brands, and then finally to end consumers, that would be my ultimate dream, that only products will be made that really have a place in the world. So it's a big one, but
you're ordering customization.
Yeah.
How is that?
Mass customization, yeah.
That would be fantastic. Thank you all for being my guests. I enjoy that, and I must say it feels like it's just the beginning of a talk. We could sit together. I am probably with you, because I only hear that, hoping in deepest of my heart that I see you all very soon somewhere. We still hope that that September fairs are possible, because I think that human contact is nice to have you all virtual, and I enjoy that enormously, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. But in reality is even nicer. Thank you so much for being.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jos. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Just a few words, just as usual, if you missed the beginning, or if you want to listen again the webinar, you can find the replay from tomorrow on our website, interfilière-paris.com. And please stay connected with us on our social media, so where we're gonna share the rest of our webinars, talks, and podcast program. Thank you so much. And
one question we have to answer. Carolina Elizabeth is asking, can you say the name of the software again, Rosa?
Again.
Close 3D, but there are many different software. She can also message me directly through my Instagram, through HYPERcurve Studio. Then I will answer all the questions if you want.
Okay. HYPERcurve on Instagram, Caroline. So any other questions, you can always send them to us, and we will look at it and we will answer you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Sorry that it didn't work with your camera, Margot.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to try and get that sorted out. Normally it does work. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, I know. Bye, Minka. Nice to see you in live. Your collection is really, and Marina, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jos.